I asked my friend to seduce my wife, and here's what came out of it. Here's how it started. Linda and I were married 2 years. Things used to be great. Lately, not so much. Nothing dramatic. No fights, no slam doors. But she got cold. Distant. Less hugs, less smiles. I'd talk, she'd nod. I'd try to kiss her, she'd turn her head. And this wasn't a bad week. This was 2 months of slowly freezing over. It started eating at me. I knew her. I knew when something wasn't right. And then I remembered that one party. It was from way back, when we were still just dating. Maybe a year in. I'd almost forgotten it until all this started. It was at her friend's house. Linda knew everyone there. I didn't. She introduced me to a couple people, then went off to talk to her best friend. I hung back in the kitchen, just trying to survive the awkward. That's when this girl came up to me. Blonde, short dress, heels too high for the stairs she came down on. I remember thinking, damn, this one's not subtle. She smiled like she already knew the answer to every question and said, "Hey, you're Linda's guy, right?" I said yeah. Figured she just wanted to be friendly. She stepped in closer. "That's a shame. I was hoping you were single." I thought she was joking. I chuckled. "Nope. Taken." She didn't blink. Just leaned in like we were in a damn movie. "You sure you can't be a little bit flexible tonight?" I backed up. "You serious?" She touched my arm. "Come on. No one has to know. You and me, 5 minutes." I remember just standing there, staring at her. Not even flattered, just confused. "I'm good," I said. "Seriously. Go find someone single." She rolled her eyes and walked off like I had offended her. About 10 minutes later, I found Linda and told her what happened. She smiled. "Just a small one. You passed." That's all she said at first. I said, "Passed what?" She looked away, like she knew she screwed up, but wasn't ready to say it. I pressed her. She shrugged it off. "Nothing. Just saying, glad you didn't take the bait." But the way she said it, I knew something was off. Couple weeks later, we're in bed, late, quiet, both just staring at the ceiling. She turns to me and says, "You remember that girl at the party?" "Of course I do. She didn't hit on you by accident." I turned my head. "What are you talking about?" She hesitated, then finally said it. "I asked her to do that. I just wanted to see how you'd react." I sat up in bed like someone dumped ice water on me. "Wait, you set me up? That wasn't real." She nodded. "I'm sorry. It was dumb. I was just scared. I had been cheated on before and I don't know. I needed to know I could trust you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You had your friend throw herself at me?" "Seriously." She volunteered. Said it'd be fun. I didn't think it would upset you this much. I just stared at her. "That's the problem, Linda. You didn't think at all." She apologized. Over and over. Said it was a one-time thing. She was insecure. She'd never do anything like that again. And I forgave her. Because I loved her. And I didn't want to lose her over one mistake. But I never forgot it. So now, all these years later, when she started acting off, pulling away, getting weird with her phone and never in the mood, I remembered that night. And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe it's time she takes the test too. So I called Greg. He was the only guy I trusted enough to even bring this kind of thing up. We worked together at the same law firm, been through long nights, hard cases, office politics, the whole nine. He'd covered for me. I'd done the same for him. We weren't just coworkers. We were solid. When I first said it out loud, "I want to test Linda," he looked at me like I'd grown another head. "You mean, like, test? What are we talking here? Instagram DMs or what?" "No," I said. "I want to see how far she'd go. In real life." Greg leaned back in his chair. "You serious?" "Dead serious." He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me for a second, like he was trying to figure out if I was losing my mind. Then he said, "You want me to hit on your wife?" "I want you to seduce her." He blinked. "That's extreme, man." I nodded. "So was what she did to me back then." He rubbed his face. "You ever think maybe she's just going through something? Work stress, hormones, whatever? Maybe it's not cheating." "I'm not saying it is," I told him. "I'm saying I want to know." We sat in silence for a minute. Then he said, "All right. If we're doing this, we're doing it right." We started planning that night. First off, fake name. No connections to me. No way she could trace him. He'd introduce himself as Alex. Not flashy. Just regular enough to be believable. Second, the meeting had to look random. No bars or clubs too obvious. No social media too easy to backtrack. But Linda worked downtown. She walked to this same coffee spot every Tuesday and Thursday, late morning. I knew the place. I'd picked her up there a few times. So we decided Greg would bump into her there. Literally. Not a full-on movie-style spill the coffee moment. Just a light bump. Enough to spark some awkward small talk. Maybe apologize, buy her drink. Take it from there. It had to feel organic. Slow burn. Not some pickup line nonsense. And the rules? We set a few. Rule number 1. No touching. Rule number 2. Don't mention me, ever. Rule number 3. If she says she's married, back off. But if she doesn't mention me, keep going. Greg said, "You know, this could backfire." Yeah, I said. If it does, I want to know. The next few days felt longer than usual. I couldn't focus at work. Couldn't sit still at home. Linda didn't notice. Or didn't care. We were barely talking by that point anyway. Tuesday came. Greg texted me just before 11. "She's here. Going in now." I stared at my phone like it was a live grenade. 10 minutes later. Talked to her. Friendly. Easy to approach. Told her I'm new in town. She smiled a lot. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or sick. Thursday came. Another text. She remembered me. Invited me to sit with her. Chatted for like 20 minutes. I asked him, did she mention being married? Greg. Nope. Not once. That's when my gut started to knot up. Because now we were past the intro. Past the small talk. And she still hadn't said a word about me. Friday came, and I couldn't focus on anything. I stared at my screen at work. No idea what I was even looking at. All I kept thinking was, why didn't she say she was married? That's like the first thing people drop into a conversation when someone flirts with them. Especially if they're not interested. Especially if they have nothing to hide. But she didn't. Not a word. That night at home was the same as the last dozen. Quiet, distant, polite. She made pasta, asked if I was hungry. I said no. She nodded. We both sat on the couch, staring into our phones like strangers renting the same silence. Next morning I met with Greg in person. We sat in his car outside a grocery store, somewhere low-key. He looked at me and said, "Man, I wasn't expecting it, but yeah, she was easy to talk to. Like, real open. She didn't flirt hard, but she liked the attention. That much was clear." I asked, how'd the conversation go? Normal stuff. I told her I'm new in town, working remote. Asked her for food recommendations. She was friendly, laughed at my jokes, leaned in. Didn't push me away. And when I said maybe I'd see her around again, she smiled and said, "Yeah, maybe you will." I just nodded. Nothing surprising, but still hit hard hearing it from someone else's mouth. Then he added, "She said she goes there Mondays too sometimes." I didn't even bring it up. She offered it. I didn't say much. I was already somewhere else in my head. You know what the weirdest part was? I wasn't angry. Not yet. I just felt hollow. Like a balloon someone slowly let the air out of. Monday came. 10:42 a.m. Greg texted. "She's here. Window seat again." 11:10. I sat down. She smiled. Said, "Alex, you again?" I said maybe I'm stalking her. She laughed. 11:35. Talked about movies. She asked what I liked. When I said I had to run, she said, "Want to give me your number? We could grab lunch sometime." Yeah. She asked him for his number. He sent me a screenshot. Her name in his phone. Linda, Cafe. Her real number. And that's when it started to sink in. This wasn't some harmless flirt. She wanted this. Not because she was drunk. Not because she was bored. Because she liked the idea of it. That night, I just watched her. She sat on the couch next to me, scrolling through something, laughing quietly. Probably a meme or a reel or whatever. And all I could think was, she's texting him right now. She's feeling alive again. And I'm just background noise. We got into bed later, and I laid there staring at the ceiling, while she rolled over and fell asleep without a word. There was a time she used to kiss my shoulder and whisper goodnight. Now I could have disappeared, and she probably wouldn't notice till breakfast. I wasn't sure what I hated more, what she was doing, or how long I'd been pretending not to see it. After Linda gave Alex her number, we took a step back. The goal wasn't to rush her. It was to let her get used to him being around. Keep it casual, familiar, safe. Greg texted her once the next day, simple stuff. "Good seeing you again." And a joke about how he still didn't know what to order from that cafe. She replied right away. Laughed. Called him the most indecisive man she's met all year. 2 days later, he bumped into her again. This time outside a bookstore a few blocks from where she worked. Not an accident. Obviously, we knew her schedule by now. He walked past, Made it look like he was surprised. Hey, twice in a week? That's suspicious. She smiled. This is my spot. You stalking me now? He laughed it off, played it cool. She didn't walk away. They talked for maybe 10 minutes. Just standing there. No big moment, no invite, no deep conversation. Just small talk. Friendly. But according to Greg, there was a little more eye contact. A little more of that too comfortable for strangers vibe. She asked what he was reading. He made something up on the spot. She said she'd seen the cover before but hadn't picked it up. Said maybe she should. Harmless stuff. But it wasn't nothing. He walked away first. Told her he was late to a call. Left it hanging. Later that night, she brought up the same bookstore to me. Said she'd seen a guy there that she'd run into a couple times. Called him the new guy in town. Said he was funny. I asked, real casual, what's he like? She shrugged. Seems cool. Easy to talk to. Nothing like the usual creeps that hit on people. I nodded. Didn't press. But inside, I felt like I just watched her open a window I never even knew existed. The next Monday, he saw her again, this time at a smoothie bar. She was coming out, he was going in. He held the door, acted surprised again. Well, now it's official. You're stalking me. She laughed. He pointed at her drink. That one any good? She said it was, and offered to let him taste it. Held the cup toward him. He said no thanks, but the moment had already happened. That little thing, offering him a sip. Yeah, maybe it's nothing. But to me, that's not how married women act with strangers. Not unless their heart's already halfway out the door. That evening Greg and I sat down and talked it through. She's not pulling away, he said. Not even pretending to. She likes seeing me. I can tell. I asked if she was flirty. He paused. Not on the surface. But you know how some people give off a vibe like they want the attention, even if they're not asking for it directly? That's her. I sat there. Didn't know what to say. I started this thing thinking it would give me peace. Clarity. But now that we were deep in it, I wasn't sure what I wanted anymore. To catch her? Or to be wrong? Because the closer Greg got, the more I saw her slipping away. The next one wasn't even our idea. Thursday morning, Greg sent me a text. She just asked if I ever go to that little art market on 9th. She brought it up on her own. Said she liked walking there on Saturdays if the weather's good and the week wasn't too exhausting. He played it cool. Said he'd never been. She said he should check it out sometime. Translation. If you show up, I won't be mad. Saturday came. Greg showed up. He waited a bit, then walked through like he was just browsing. Took his time. And sure enough, there she was. Alone. No friends. No bag like she was actually shopping. Just walking. She saw him before he saw her. She waved. They talked for 20 minutes. Started off light, food trucks, street music, whatever. But at one point, Greg told me she said, I don't usually talk to strangers this much. He said, I must not seem that strange then. She smiled. Looked at him for a second too long. Later, she asked him if he was dating anyone. Greg told her, not really. Haven't found someone I click with yet. Then she said it. Calm, casual, like it meant nothing. Yeah, relationships are tricky. People fall out of sync, even if they love each other. He just nodded. She didn't mention me. Not by name. Not even my husband. But that sentence? That was loaded. She knew what she was saying. And now I knew, too. When Greg told me that part, I just sat there. Silent. Not shocked. Not even hurt. More like, resigned. Because there it was. Not flirting. Not jokes. That was her testing the water. I started thinking back to when we were dating. How she used to talk to me like that. How she once told me, after a night of walking and talking around campus, I don't usually open up to people like this. Same tone. Same rhythm. Now she was giving it to someone else. I started asking myself real questions. Like, even if she didn't cross the line physically, could I really live with this? Could I lay in bed next to a woman who had that kind of conversation with another man, smiled like that, invited moments like that? Because this wasn't some office flirtation. This was emotional. Real. The next day, Greg told me she messaged him. If you ever get bored and want company, I make great coffee. That wasn't a metaphor. She meant it literally. But also, no, she didn't. I looked at the text for a long time. Not even angry anymore. Just tired. Because now I knew exactly where this was headed. The only question left was, how far would she go? We were already too deep in it. Greg had her number. They were texting almost every day. She was the one keeping it going. Not pushy, not flirty in the obvious way, but constant. Warm. Familiar. She asked how he was sleeping, what kind of food he liked, if he was seeing anyone. And then one Thursday, he forwarded me a message from her. There's this little wine bar I go to sometimes with my coworkers. Real low-key. You might like it. I stared at it for a long time. No pressure. Just a soft suggestion. But it was her suggestion. Greg replied something safe as sounds nice. You go often. She said she was planning to stop by Saturday night, just for a bit. To unwind, she wrote. This week was brutal. Then she added, if you happen to be there, I wouldn't mind the company. That was it. Not a date. Not a direct invite. But come on. I wasn't born yesterday. She picked the place. Picked the day. Told him where she'd be. That was her making a move, without having to admit she made one. I told Greg, okay, this is it. You meet her. Let her take it wherever she wants. But no pushing. No steering. Just follow. He agreed. Said he'd wear the same light jacket, same cologne, same casual tone he'd been using all along. Nothing different. We planned it down to the hour. I'd be nearby, waiting. Not because I didn't trust Greg, but because I wanted to see it with my own eyes. Saturday came. She texted him around 6:40. Here now. Bar's kinda dead, actually. Which I like. At 7:05, Greg walked in. He said she was already sipping red wine. Alone. On her phone. Hair done. Light makeup. Tight jeans, loose top. She looked ready. Not desperate. Not reckless. Just open. Relaxed. Like she was enjoying being somewhere without me. They talked. He made her laugh. She touched his wrist at one point. Said something about how everyone feels so fake these days. Greg said she kept leaning in, the way people do when they want to blur the line between friendly and personal. At 7:50 she asked, casually, do you usually hang out this late on Saturdays? He said, not really. But I'll make an exception. She smiled. Then said, there's a hotel across the street. Not expensive, but the wine's better. Greg told her he laughed and said, are you inviting me to switch bars or switch locations? She just raised an eyebrow. Didn't answer. Didn't need to. When he told me that, sitting in my truck, I didn't even flinch. Because I knew this wasn't curiosity anymore. This was intent. She was ready to go through with it. And I was ready to let her. It all came together that Saturday night. Greg and Linda met at the wine bar around 7. I was parked 2 blocks away, just sitting in my truck, waiting for the text. At 7:43, Greg messaged. We've had 2 glasses. She's laughing at everything. Definitely buzzed. At 8:11. She just said, it's too loud in here. Want to go somewhere more quiet? I asked what she had in mind. She said, there's a hotel across the street. We can talk there. My stomach turned. My hands went still on the steering wheel. 8:16. We're walking in. I didn't answer. Just started the engine and pulled closer. 8:28. Room 214. She booked it herself. Paid up front. 8:36. She poured herself wine from the minibar. Put on music from her phone. She just said she's going to shower and told me, and I quote, don't go anywhere. 8:39. She's in the bathroom. Shower running. Door shut. Come now. I left the truck running. Took the stairs 2 at a time. Heart hammering. Greg was waiting at the end of the hallway. He didn't say a word. Just handed me the key card. Then turned and walked away. I let myself in. The room was dim, no lights on, just the glow coming from the bathroom. Warm. Soft. Quiet. Her purse was on the chair. 2 empty glasses on the table. I sat on the edge of the bed. Face blank. Hands calm. The shower shut off. I didn't move. Then I heard the door open. She stepped out. Didn't see me at first. Towel off. Bare. Smiling like it was the start of something exciting. She stood in the bathroom doorway and said, light and tipsy, Alex, you ready for the best night of your life? I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then I said, absolutely. She froze. The smile vanished. She squinted through the shadows and saw me. Clint. Her voice broke. She grabbed for the towel, wrapping it tight around her. Wait, what are you doing here? I just stared at her. She panicked. Stepped back. Started mumbling. It's not what it looks like. Nothing happened. I didn't think. I stood up. Didn't say a word. Walked past her. She reached for my arm. I pulled away. Clint, please. Just give me a second. Let me explain. I opened the door. 1 foot out. 1 look back. She was standing in the same spot, wrapped in panic and a towel. And I left. No words. No drama. Just the truth staring her right in the face. I got home before she did. Yeah, I know sounds backward. She's the one who left the hotel, half-dressed, humiliated, caught. But I was the one waiting. I walked in, tossed my keys on the table, and just sat. Didn't turn on the lights. Didn't pour a drink. Just sat in the quiet. The house didn't feel like ours anymore. It felt like a room someone abandoned in a hurry. Half an hour passed before I heard her car pull into the driveway. She didn't rush in. She opened the door slow, quiet, like she was stepping into a room where something dangerous lived. I didn't move. Stayed at the kitchen table, arms crossed, eyes on the floor. She stepped into the doorway, wrapped in a hoodie, hair still damp, face pale. "Clint," she said. Soft, almost like she was asking if I was really there. I didn't answer. She stepped in slowly. "I didn't know it was you," she said. "I didn't know." "Yeah," I said. That was the point. She froze. Realized that meant this wasn't an accident. It was a setup. "You planned this." Still no answer. She stepped closer, voice shaking. "You knew? This whole time?" I looked at her now. "Finally. You remember that night back when we were dating? When your friend hit on me at that party?" She blinked. "Yeah, I remember. You tested me." She swallowed hard. "That was different." "No, it wasn't. You wanted to see if I'd cheat. So you sent someone to tempt me. Someone I didn't know. You watched to see what I'd do. I was insecure, Clint. We weren't even married then." I apologized. "You said you forgave me." "I did," I said. "But I didn't forget." She dropped her eyes. "So you, what? You got your friend to do the same thing to me?" I nodded. "His name's Greg. You've heard me talk about him. But you never met him. That's why I picked him." She sank into the nearest chair. Like her legs just gave out. "I can't believe you did that." "No," I said. "You can't believe you got caught." She looked up sharply. "I didn't do anything. Didn't you?" "No, Clint, I didn't. I didn't sleep with him. I didn't even kiss him. You took him to a hotel. I was drunk. You booked the room. I just needed to feel." She stopped. Bit her lip. "I don't know. I just wanted to forget how cold things have gotten between us. I didn't mean to go that far." I nodded slowly. "You stood in that doorway, naked, smiling. You told me, are you ready for the best night of your life? And you meant it." She looked like she might fall apart. "Please, Clint. Please. Don't do this. Don't throw away everything we built. It was a mistake. I can fix it. I swear to God." "No," I said. That one word cut the air clean. She started crying. Harder now. Real tears, full body shaking. But I just sat there. Still. Empty. I didn't yell. Didn't call her names. I just watched her fall apart under the weight of her own choice. "I love you," she whispered. I nodded. "I loved you too." She covered her face. And I stood up. "I'll be gone in the morning." I didn't sleep that night. She cried herself out in the other room. I stayed on the couch, staring at the ceiling, arms folded across my chest like they were holding me together. At some point, I dozed off for an hour. Maybe two. When I opened my eyes, the sun was just starting to come up. The house was silent. I stood, stretched, grabbed a duffel bag from the closet, and started packing. Not everything. Just the stuff that mattered. A few shirts. Jeans. My laptop. Toothbrush. Chargers. A stack of folders from work. Left the wedding photos in the drawer. Left the ring on the nightstand. I heard her footsteps behind me as I zipped up the bag. She was quiet. Still in that hoodie from the night before. Her face was blotchy, eyes red, hair tied back like she hadn't slept either. She didn't say anything at first. Just stood in the doorway, watching me. "Where are you going?" she finally asked. "Out." "For how long?" I shrugged. "I don't know." She nodded, slowly. "Can we talk more?" "Later, maybe. I think we've said enough." She bit her lip, like she wanted to argue. But nothing came out. I walked past her, down the hall, out the front door. Sunlight hit me like a slap. Felt too bright for how hollow I was inside. I didn't look back. Got in my truck. Turned the key. Drove. No music. No GPS. Just the road. I ended up at a cheap extended stay motel on the edge of town. One of those places with weekly rates and stiff beds. The kind where the TV remote barely works and the Wi-Fi cuts out every 10 minutes. Didn't matter. I wasn't there for luxury. I was there to breathe. Checked in. Dropped the bag. Sat on the edge of the bed. That's when the weight finally hit me. Not rage. Not heartbreak. Just Silence. The kind of silence you only get when something inside you breaks and you realize it's not going to be put back the same way. I grabbed my phone, looked at the background. It was a picture of us, smiling, wine glasses in hand. Some trip up the coast we took a year ago. She was wearing a red dress. I changed it to black. Just black. Then I called my lawyer. Told him I needed to start the divorce paperwork. He asked if I was sure. I said yeah. Infidelity? I paused, then said, no. Call it emotional abandonment. Because she didn't sleep with him, but she wanted to, and that was enough. That night, I sat outside the motel on a cheap plastic chair and watched the traffic roll by. The noise helped. People coming and going. Kids laughing somewhere behind the fence. Music thumping from a nearby car. Life still happening. Like none of it cared about me falling apart. And that felt weirdly okay. I didn't drink. Didn't text her. Didn't scroll through old photos like some broken ex. I just sat. Still. Present. For the first time in months, I wasn't pretending. I wasn't fighting for something that already died. And that, as messed up as it sounds, was its own kind of peace. She didn't give up right away. I'll give her that. After I moved out, she tried texting, calling, voice messages I didn't listen to. She even emailed me, like maybe typing it out made it more serious. For a while, I just ignored it. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much. And I knew if I opened that door again, even a crack, I'd never get it shut. She tried through mutual friends. One of her old college roommates messaged me on Facebook. She's really not doing well. She made a mistake. Don't let this be forever. As if it wasn't already. About a month after I left, I walked into a quiet coffee shop on the edge of town. I'd started coming there early before work. No one I knew ever showed up, and they made strong black coffee and didn't ask questions. But that day, she was there. I saw her the second I walked in. Hair tied back, hoodie up, sitting near the window, nursing some fancy tea she always liked. She looked up and froze. I could have turned around. Could have walked right back out and pretended I never saw her. But I didn't. I didn't want a scene. I didn't want to be that guy. So I gave her a nod and walked over. She gestured to the chair across from her. I sat down. The silence between us felt louder than anything around. She started with what I expected. I'm sorry. Her voice was soft, shaky, real. She said she wasn't thinking clearly, that she didn't mean for it to happen, that she hated what she'd become. I know I hurt you, she said. I live with that every day. I nodded, didn't say much. She kept going. Said she missed me. Said she still loved me. Said she didn't know who she was anymore without me in the house. And maybe for a moment, a small part of me almost pitied her. Until her tone shifted. It was subtle at first. Then it wasn't. You know, she said, if you hadn't sent Greg, none of this would have happened. I blinked. She went on. You set me up. You created the whole thing. The hotel, the flirting, the drinks, it was all a trap. I just stared at her. You can't put all the blame on me, she said. You were cold. You pulled away first. You pushed me into this. That was it. Something inside me just snapped. I leaned in across the table. Close. So no one else could hear. Then I said it, low, tight, quiet as steel. Don't you ever come near me again. She froze. Don't text. Don't call. Don't mention my name to anyone. Whatever we were, you burned it that night. You didn't just cross a line. You set the whole thing on fire. Her eyes welled up. But I wasn't done. I leaned even closer, almost a whisper now. You don't get to crawl back out of the ashes and act like I lit the match. Then I stood up and walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. I never saw her again. No more messages. No more second chances. No more, what if? Just silence. And honestly, it was beautiful.